The Democratic Party is in trouble, my friends. The latest polls are out, and poll after poll after poll just shows Democrats should be very, very afraid. At least that's what Politico magazine says. We dug into the polls. Democrats in Congress should be very afraid. We got a handful of stories that have come out recently, of course, with CNN and NBC News saying that Democratic approval rating is at record lows. 29% says CNN, 27% says NBC News. We've now got some more bad news. Anger is erupting at Democrats, their various town halls and otherwise. And of course, they like to point out it's happening with Republicans too, but that's a different story for different reasons, which of course we will address. As the Democratic Party, they're fractured completely. The Democratic constituents that are most active want Democrats in Congress to be vicious. They just want revenge or anger or war or I don't know how aggression. They're not asking for anything specific. They're not saying we want a better economy because the economy is getting better. Egg prices are going down, groceries going down, gas going down, and they're still angry. And the funny thing is, they're really angry at Elon Musk and Tesla, despite the fact Tesla produces most of the electric cars in this country. Let me just say it's the top electric car producer. Ain't that good for climate change? Yeah, no, they just hate the guy. And they didn't even know what USAID was or why they're mad. Now, to be fair, there's certain stories in the media that will rile them up. If they're going to be watching people like Jon Stewart, and he's not the worst, but he's pretty bad, they're going to be completely confused about what's actually going on in this country. But there is an emergent Tea Party phenomenon. That's what they're calling it in the media. Progressives are rising up to primary these Democrats who they say do not do enough. Now, what I absolutely love about this story, my friends, is that when you look at the Gallup poll, which just dropped, just shy of 50% say, please, Democrats, moderate. And I think I can say most of us would wish their party would moderate. Maybe we can have some sanity in this country. We don't need all to just be rallied around one political party and the Republicans because Democrats are nuts. Would be nice if there was an actual agreement on social and moral cohesion. Imagine if the Democratic Party was more like Tulsi Gabbard. That's what I was hoping for. Well, you're not likely going to get it because the plurality, says Gallup, want the status quo or more. That's right. They want the Democrats to go crazier and further left. Oh, boy. Within this story, I've got a bunch of clips for you, my friends, of just how crazy the Democrats are. Rosie O'Donnell claiming that there was a conspiracy. She flees to Ireland, appears on Irish TV and says Donald Trump stole the election with Elon Musk, the man who owns the internet. Yo, these people have lost their minds completely. And you know what? They have a large enough cohort in the Democratic Party that will refuse to allow them to moderate. And thus, this morning, another story which is going viral. A progressive 26-year-old out of Illinois seeking to primary the incumbent establishment Democrat. Hey, I'm all for it. Bring it on. Fire these people. And the conservatives, I don't quite understand. They're actually angry at this person. Now, maybe it's 3D, 4D, 5D chess. The idea among the conservatives is let's anti-endorse these candidates so they actually win. It's a tough call. I'm hardcore endorsing these progressives because it's going to just demolish the Democratic Party. Worse than it already is. Maybe that's some kind of silly accelerationism. Let the Democrats go far left so they can't win an election ever again. Maybe the real way to promote the Democrat is to act like you oppose them and support the establishment Democrat. I don't know. It's like that Babylon Bee article. Ingenious move. Donald Trump comes out supports impeachment so that Democrats oppose. Indeed. Well, we're going to break down this news for you, my friends. I want to give a shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club. Thank you for the raid. This is the morning show at noon. I am your host, Tim Pool. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Of course, you can subscribe to this channel here and share the show with everyone you know if you really do like it. These live streams have consistently been the top shows in the country for the time slot, and that is the power of the Rumble Morning Lineup. And again, big shout out to Steven Crowder and his Mug Club because he's basically just helping promote the work that I'm doing as part of this morning lineup that we're doing. So a tremendous credit to him and to all of you who are watching and enjoy this show. I really do appreciate it. So make sure you subscribe, share that show. And you know what? We're going to take care of you guys. Over at castbrew.com, we have a new promo code. Use code You get 10% off everything, even subscriptions. So check it out. I think we just sold out of our limited batch of the, where did it go? Of the ground, Luck of the Seamus. Maybe we'll get some, sold out already. We didn't have that much in stock. It's supposed to be a few thousand, but only a few hundred came in. But pick up your Appalachian Nights or your Stand Your Grounds. Use promo code RUMBLE10 again, and you will get 10% off everything you buy. So let's do this. Let's jump into this story, starting with this from Politico, so we can lay the groundwork of the current polling of the Democratic Party and where it's all headed. Let me just say, my friends, be optimistic. It's looking like even though Trump literally just got in, the midterms are already won. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. You know, we've got to make sure we do this right. What with this big story about the leaked text messages or whatever, that journalist, although I don't really believe it was a leak, it's kind of hard to believe they would do it on purpose at the same time. But what a silly story. There can be blunders, but I'm still thinking, based on the direction we're seeing in the polls, Democrats lack the, awareness to fix their party. And so we're going to get the Trump agenda through. If the Democrats do moderate and then end up winning seats in Congress, Trump will be impeached. Here's the story from Politico.com. We dug into the polls. Democrats in Congress should be very afraid. Democratic voters are even angrier than you think. Yes, Democrats, please, let the hate flow through you. As I tell you, my friends, it is going to result in Republicans winning the midterms. As Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer knows better than anyone, the Democratic base is pissed off, and not just a little. The intensity of the anger roiling the party is at a historic level, suggesting a breach between congressional Democrats and the party grassroots so severe they could reshape the 2026 primary election season. Congressional Democrats have typically enjoyed higher popularity with their voting base than their Republican counterparts. But the trauma of the 2024 presidential election defeat appears to have ruptured that relationship. A review of Quinnipiac University's annual first quarter congressional polling reveals that for the first time in the poll's history, congressional Democrats are now underwater with their own voters in approval ratings. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just stress that again. For the first time in history, net approval rating among self-identified Democrats or Republicans of their party in Congress is now just around what appears to be -5. Wow. And look at Republicans. Support's way up. Are you kidding? -9. Oh, man. -9 net approval, with Republicans enjoying 69% approval among their voters. Just 40% of Democrats approve of the job performance of congressional Democrats compared to 49% who disapprove. That's a dramatic change from this time last year when 75% of Democrats approved compared to just 21%. The Democratic base's disillusionment runs so deep that it's eerily reminiscent of Republican grassroots sentiment in the period leading up to Donald Trump's takeover of the Republican Party. The numbers are clear. No longer satisfied with the status quo in their party, Democrats are on the verge of a Tea Party-style intra-party revolt. Let's go! Look, I got to be honest. I don't want Trump to be impeached. I want him to get his agenda through. But part of me also will revel in all of these neoliberal shill corporate politicians losing in primaries. This, in my opinion, will strengthen the populist movement on the right as the coalition between disaffected liberals and conservatives will grow, as around 40% of Democrats are begging for moderation. So we need a strategy meeting here, my friends. What's the game plan? Are we going to actually endorse the progressives and say, you go, you can do it? Or will then they start going, actually, I don't think it really matters. So I'm all on board. Let's go, progressives. I got your back. Maybe even a donation or two. I would love to send a donation. I wonder what do you think would happen? There's this cat for Congress. There's a couple other progressives. What do you think would happen if I donated to them? And they're like, no, we fight fascism. Well, here's money for you to keep doing it. Because when these people get in, could you imagine what Congress is going to be like if the squad had like 10 more members? If the squad was actually like a major caucus and not just 4 or 5 people? Democratic voters are going to flee in huge numbers. Okay, maybe you shouldn't meddle like that, whatever. Take a look at this. The Democratic approval data is unlike any in recent history, and it isn't a case of bitter, disaffected partisans reacting to a loss in the last election. The first time Democrats lost an election to Donald Trump, their congressional approval ratings within the party actually ticked up. As Democratic-based voters largely approved of the ways that party leadership resisted the Trump administration in early 2017. Let's go! The same phenomenon surfaced among Republicans in 2021, when, despite Trump's defeat and subsequent chaos of January 6th, Republican voters remained generally positive regarding their views on the congressional GOP. The closest partisan parallel to the level of anger currently gripping the Democratic voters would be roughly a decade ago, when Republican political unknown Dave Bratt toppled House Majority Leader Eric Cantor in a shocking 2014 primary upset. 2 years later, Trump tore through a crowded field of accomplished establishment candidates and forever upended Republican politics. Bravo, good sir. The neocons sucked, and I hated the Republican Party, largely still do. But to be honest, the Donald Trump Republican Party is a different beast. And you got RFK Jr. and Maha? Please, I'm sorry. Many of you may not agree, but I believe we should ban pharmaceutical ads. I am completely in favor of saying none of that. And many people have pointed out the end result would be corporate press collapses because they rely on this. Now let's move on, though. We've got a couple of stories that have already outlined this. You've got The Hill, rising anger among Democrats fuels talk of Tea Party-style backlash. Senator Bernie Sanders and Rep. AOC drew tens of thousands on stops for their Fighting Oligarchy tour over the weekend, illustrating what progressives say is their message's resonance among voters. Meanwhile, progressive lawmakers are signaling the need for a revamp in leadership and messaging. There's this really great breakdown of why Democrats should be terrified. I forgot where it was. It might have been on Fox News. And they're like, not only is their approval record low, intra-party fighting is causing chaos and an inability to organize, and there's no leader. The question to all of you, comment, let me know what you think. Who is the leader of the Democratic Party right now? With the Republicans, it's pretty easy. Donald Trump. And then you can even start to talk about lieutenants and commanders. You know the hierarchy of leadership. You've got Trump, you've got J.D. Vance, obviously, you've got RFK, you've got Pete Hegseth. There's a ton of people on the right where we're like, look at that backbench. And you've even got different ideologies, too. I mean, many people aren't going to like Nikki Haley, who like Trump, but still, there are Republicans who are willing to go either way. On the left, oof, yikes. Now, the funny thing is, Bernie Sanders and AOC were accused, I don't know if this is real, of using astroturfed supporters. Basically, the people who showed up to their rallies are people who just basically go on tour with them. They keep showing up at the same rallies. I don't know that I believe it or need to. AOC is largely popular, and so is Bernie Sanders. But I do love that they're fighting oligarchy. That's their message. I'd like to express to the Democrats, please listen one time. There's a tweet I put up in the morning where an X post, I guess we're supposed to say. We all say tweet, you know it. Listen, they're angry that billionaires have so much money. And Bernie Sanders said at one of these rallies, how much money do you need? And it's like, Bezos doesn't actually have that money, bruh. He gets a salary, he gets bonuses, he does make a lot of cash. But the billionaire, that's just stake in a company. When you ask someone how much money do you really need, I know what he's doing. You think Bernie's so dumb he doesn't understand how equity works? Of course he does. So does AOC. You do not get to these levels of success without understanding these systems. I mean, maybe sometimes someone accidentally, but you know AOC knows this. She's just not going to tell you the truth because it gives her power and money. Okay, the truth is, Bezos and Elon Musk and others start companies. Those companies produce lots of things. Those companies get valuations. So when you say how much money is enough, you're basically saying at some point, everyone who runs a company should stop expanding, stop developing or inventing. So some people become ultra wealthy off of a single product. I know one guy, he made a lot of money off making one product and then investing that money in one other product. He made a product, sold it, then he took all the money he got, invested in another company that made one thing. That's it, one thing. So because everybody wants to buy, let's imagine you invented here you go. I got a rubber mallet. Order. Imagine you invented something about it. I don't know, a product. And it's the only thing you did. And 1 billion people buy it for $1 and now you have $1 billion cash. Granted, you've got costs. How much money do you really make? That company's going to be worth a lot of money. Should you just be like, no, we're not going to sell this useful product to anyone anymore because I've got enough money? No, you're going to be like, wow, people really find use in this. It's helping them quite a bit. And now my company is extremely valuable. But to Bernie and AOC, their mentality and the Democrat base that supports them is your company's too big. It's too valuable. So stop working. Just go buy an island somewhere. Maybe invite world leaders. Maybe you'll use a private jet. I'm kidding. They're not suggesting that, but you get the point. Well, we do have more stories pertaining to the directly the Democrats. So I'll get away from the oligarchy argument, though I like to make it. Axios reported on the 21st, they hate us. Democrats confront their own Tea Party. Look at this. Rep. Sean Casten is confronted by a protester at a town hall at American Legion Post 80 in Downers Grove, Illinois on March 19th. My friends, I hope they continue to entertain all of this because I drove around in my Cybertruck. That's right, I got a Cybertruck. I drove around in it this weekend. We had one lady nearly hit us on the highway. She got within inches of the car on the highway and just maintained that position while just staring at us. And I'm like, is she gonna hit us? You're like, lady, I'm in a stainless steel truck. Not only that, but the battery's massive. We got the curb weight. Please don't hit me. It's gonna be bad for you. We had some guy spit in our direction. People were pointing at us. One lady rolled down her window and started screaming with her child in the car. One guy looked at me and gave me a thumbs down. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, okay, dude. I gave him a salute. I was like, bro, I don't care. Bro, I spent all this money on a Cybertruck. I'm driving it. Not to mention, it feels good. So let's consider that stupidity for a moment. Now imagine you're a Democratic rep in Illinois, and one of these morons shows up screaming, I hate Tesla. And what are you going to say to that person? What are you going to say? Vote for me because I'll regulate Tesla, I guess? Listen, this is a representative democracy, okay? We are a constitutional republic that has representatives that are democratically elected. I try to be very specific because everybody always argues about terms. That means the person who represents the values of the group is going to be sent to Congress. And the values of the group right now is stupidity. I hate Teslas. Why? Because Elon's bad. Okay, what do you want me to do? I want to send a member to Congress who's going to do bad things to Tesla, but there's nothing we can do. Regulate them. Investigate them. Okay, I guess. Your eggs will be more expensive. Your gas will be more expensive. Half your party will quit and join the Republicans. They'll win a supermajority. And then Donald Trump will get a steamroller to do everything that he wants. So please, Democrats, please keep doing this. Well, here you go, ladies and gentlemen, from Gallup. More Democrats favor party moderation than in the past. Plurality of Republicans favor status quo for their party. Fewer say it should be more conservative. Really, guys? Well, I got to be honest. It's my fault. It's my fault. You see, if people like me decided we would stay to save and salvage the Democratic Party, they'd probably have more people pulling them rightward. And I don't mean to the right. I mean literally just back somewhere closer to the center. But I don't even think it's necessarily far left. These people are just nuts. The things they want don't actually align politically. You want to investigate Elon Musk? Like that's not a policy thing. That's a law enforcement thing. Win the executive branch, I guess. Sure. But you got people like me, Tulsi, RFK Jr., many others. We abandoned the Democratic Party a long time ago. And more people every day start doing so. So please, Democrats, play that Tea Party. Let's go. Because the rest of the Democratic Party, some 46 some odd percent, are going to quit too, and they're going to join us. Now, that'll be a moderating force on Donald Trump. It already has been. This is fantastic. And it creates a new middle of the political space. Maybe we can restore politics in this country by everyone just quitting the Democratic Party who are not nuts and letting the insane group form their own weird third party, and they can make their new Green Party. Gallup reports, in the wake of the 2024 election and Trump's inauguration for a second term as president, a plurality of Democrats would like their party to become more moderate, while a similar plurality of Republicans favor the status quo for their party. Both groups' preferences have shifted significantly since 2021. At the start of Joe Biden's presidency, the last time Gallup measured opinions on the question, support for a more moderate Democratic Party among Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents has grown by 11 percentage points to 45% since 2021. At the same time, Democrats and leaners' desire for a more liberal party has declined 5 points to 29%, and preferences for no change have fallen 9 points to 2022. So it sounds like there is a shift towards a desire of moderation, despite the fact the plurality still says, no, stay the same or get crazier. Here you go. Partisans' preference of the ideological direction of the parties. So here we go. Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents. In 2025, 29% says, yo, let's be more liberal. However, you've got 22% saying, let's stay the same. Oh, geez. So you got 51% that want to stay where we are or go crazier. Okay, to be fair, it's the plurality that wants more moderate, okay? But as they describe it, more Democrats favor party moderation in the past, and that's a good thing. But I would say it like this. You've got 51% that say stay the same or move left. Now, the reason why I would draw that distinction as opposed to saying stay the same or move moderate is that the party's already crazy. And the people who want to stay the same, I doubt, are going to want to align with Donald Trump. So while 45% may be saying, please slow down the crazy, staying the same means be crazy, and more liberal means be crazier. That would mean you've got 51% that enjoy, at bare minimum, being as crazy as they are or being crazier. I think there's actually a bigger distinction between the stay the same of the Democrats and the more moderate. Now take a look at the Republican and Republican-leaning independents. This is where I express that distinction. 28% say more conservative, 27% say more moderate, 43% say stay the same. I actually respect it. You know why? You can see equal parts on both sides saying go one way or the other. Most people are like, I kind of think we're doing right here. So while it is fair to argue with me, I suppose, and say, no, Tim, the Democrats do want more moderation. No. Stay the same is status quo or crazier. More moderate means abandon the status quo. That says to me, the Democrats, they're going to go crazier. They're going to go crazier. Now, maybe with only 22% actually wanting to stay the same and a large group wanting to moderate, you may get some of the people who say stay where we're at, recognizing the far left as a detriment. I peruse these liberal subreddit forums, as I enjoy and love to do, to see what they're thinking. They're not happy about the terror attacks on Tesla. And I'm not here to lie and claim these liberal podcasters are cheering it on. No. You have prominent personalities who are. We call out Bill Burr, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert. We get it. But you go to some of these liberal YouTuber pages and you see the stories because they do post them about the Tesla arson, and the comments, the top comments are all calling it out. Maybe not literally every single one, but I went to a few of the more moderate. I hate to say moderate because none of them really are, but more of the more corporate Democrat accounts without naming any of them. And the comments from people are saying like, this is hurting us really bad. We need this to stop. Protest Elon Musk. They want to see the company fail, but the terror is actually really bad. And they're calling it out. To be fair, many of them are saying it's a false flag and Elon's doing it to himself. So, there's that. But they really do view it as something negative for them. They're going to say that these changes have occurred in Gallup data. These changes have occurred in Gallup data show that partisans have grown more ideologically polarized in the past few years. The latest findings from Gallup poll conducted January 21st to 27th, immediately after Trump was inaugurated, and several weeks after Trump took control of both houses of Congress. Liberal Democrats favor more liberal party. Moderates prefer moderation. Surprise, surprise. The difference between liberal and moderate Democrats' ideological preferences for the party. Liberal Democrats, 45% say be more liberal. Stay the same is stay the same. And moderates, of course, favor being moderate. But take a look at this. This is interesting. Among moderate Democrats, 14% say move left. 22 stay the same. It's a dramatic shift. So I'm curious as to what will happen. Conservative Republicans split in preference for party's ideology. This we get. Everyone's kind of happy with where they are. The Republican Party looks like it's actually at a normal bell curve. So we will see. They're going to say, bottom line, after Republicans won back the presidency and control of the U.S. Senate while also maintaining a slim majority in the House, Trump has begun to enact the conservative agenda he campaigned on. For now, Republicans overwhelmingly approve of Trump and are more satisfied with their party's current ideological bent than Democrats are with theirs. For their part, few Democrats want their party to stand still politically. Of the rest, more believe it should become more moderate than more liberal. This is a change from 4 years ago at the start of the Biden administration. Okay, fine, fair. Maybe I'm biased, but I'm going to explain it again. And you guys comment, let me know if you actually agree with me. My point is this. The current iteration of the Democratic Party has abandoned Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, even Donald Trump. They have excised from their party all of the moderate individuals. Who is left that is moderate is actually fairly strongly liberal. My point is this. If there are liberals who are satisfied and say, stay the same, when they have called for far left policy, DEI, graphic porn books for kids, the excising of prominent personalities from their own party, chasing them away, insulting them and calling them fascist, that's where we're at now. If they're okay with that, I do not view them as individuals who believe they are a moderate party or want to go in that direction. I view a dramatic split between the Democrats who think they should be more moderate. These people clearly don't like the status quo. Now, the liberals who say more liberal already agree with the insanity of the Democratic Party and are saying do more. I view that as one cohort. Democrats saying, please stop being crazy. And then you have the current Democrats and the more liberal Democrats saying, we're actually fine where we are or want to go crazier. Considering the Democratic Party is already crazy, I don't see this as three groups. I see it as two groups. Maybe my bias. From Fox News, Trump District Democrat warns the party in trouble ahead of the 2026 midterms. We don't as Democrats focus enough on the basics, says Rep. Tom Suozzi on Fox News Digital. I think the Democratic brand is really in trouble, and it's been portrayed as this crazy left, out of touch thing. Surprise, surprise. So again, I'll stress, here's a guy saying outright, this is how they see us. And you've got 22% who say that's fine, and 29 saying, let's go crazier. I think he's right, but not enough people want to pull them out of crazy. I guess that's one way to put it, right? 51% are crazy. 45% may be a little bit crazy, but at least smart enough to recognize they're losing. Well, there you go. My friends, I give you a great example of the Democrats continuing to go crazy, but I'd like to encourage and endorse Kat Abugazela, who has announced her run for Congress. On social media, conservatives are ragging on her. I'm like, nah. I hope she wins. She's running against Jan Schakowsky in Illinois. I don't care. Don't know who you are, whatever. Grew up in Chicago. These people have been there forever. They've run this place on the ground. I can't stand any of them. All of them, all the incumbents, go out, whatever. I don't care who. I don't care who. I'm just sick of the incumbents. So here you go. You've got this video. Let's roll it for you. I'll play a little bit. This is an example of what the Democrat Tea Party has to give you, my friends. And I encourage you, please support this young woman because this is the kind of politics that we actually want. Notice there's no American flag. She could have put one right here, but a keffiyeh instead. That's right. The pro-Palestine scarf. Yo, please. I hope she wins. The Democrats will never win another election if people like this keep running.
Are dismantling our country piece by piece. And so many Democrats seem content to just sit back and let them. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a fucking spine. I'm Kat Abugazela, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 9th district. Unfortunately, this party has become one where you have to look to the exceptions for real leadership, as the majority work from an outdated playbook.
Not unfair.
We need a makeover, which means we need a vision that's bigger than what we've been told is possible. There is absolutely no reason you shouldn't be able to afford housing, groceries, and healthcare with some money left over. Families should have free childcare, Social Security should be expanded, and our inalienable rights shouldn't be dependent on who's in power. That means standing up to authoritarians, not shrinking away when the fight gets tough.
What I really love about this kind of stuff is you can just sort of say things like, there's no reason you shouldn't have $100,000 in your bank account right now. Vote for me. And it doesn't really mean anything. So when she says you should be able to own a house and have money and money left over or whatever, it's like, sure. The question is, while we all agree we want people to have houses, groceries, and money left over, the question, it's how do we get there? Well, she didn't really tell you. She just said you should. We agree. So what's your plan?
While current Democratic leadership might be fine cowering to Trump, I'm not. I've spent my entire career reporting on the far right and being attacked by them as a result. In fact, just a few months ago, Elon Musk's lawyers deposed me here in Chicago to ask about my mean tweets. Look, I thought comedy was legal again. This is all to say, I'm not scared of standing up to these people. I know how they think, and I know how to beat them.
No,
but
you
my
don't.
campaign itself is going to be different too, because I don't want to wait a year to help people. We're focused on meeting constituent needs with one simple rule. What if we didn't suck? My campaign and I would rather spend our money on book drives and clothing exchanges and public events than fancy fundraisers for rich donors. I also want my campaign to be as transparent as possible. That's why I'll be posting regular videos about the costs and steps of running for office. We all deserve better. We deserve human rights and financial freedom and a party that stands up to authoritarians. We deserve to thrive, not just survive. And I plan to fight for those ideals both on the campaign trail and in Congress. If you want to know more about me and what I believe, you can go to catforillinois.com. I do need to mention that campaigns cost money and ask you to contribute what you can. But I promise your donation will not be wasted on old, ineffective tactics. No spam,
just new ineffective tactics.
Me guilt trip texts. No focus groups to test my views, and no grifty consultants who care more about their paycheck than actually winning. It's time to challenge the status quo,
man.
and if our leaders won't do it, we will. I'm Kat Abou-Ghazaleh, and I'm running for Congress.
Okay, Abou-Ghazaleh. I was pronouncing your name way wrong.
Because it's time for Democrats to do more.
Okay, so she used to work for Media Matters, and I don't know, it's kind of smarmy. It's a rage bait machine, conspiracy theorists, weird garbage, but I genuinely do hope she wins. And I really do hope she pays attention to actual criticisms, because if you go to her website, which we can pull up right here, I don't think she's going to win, and I mean maybe she will. If we look at the Gallup poll and take a look, so this is again, why am I showing you this? This is one of the most prominent emergent Tea Party leftists, they're calling it. I don't know if it's fair to call it the Tea Party, but you get the idea when we say that. She wants to primary an incumbent Democrat who's been there forever, basically. But her views are nuts. Look, is she really going to be able to convince her district that you should vote for her because she fights fascism? Now, she made some interesting points. She didn't really explain how she's going to do it, but she said you should have more money. And so that resonates with people. Maybe that'll work for her. I got to be honest. She doesn't seem to understand that the youth demographic will not carry her. She's 26, and she's trying to target a bunch of social media people. I don't think she's going to be able to win. And I genuinely want her to. Why? Because she's insane. She is a crazy person, and I mean that without any disrespect. I literally think her views are nuts. And telling your district that you're going to fight fascists is like, you are in internet bubble world, ma'am. You need to, as they say, touch grass. Because if you actually go out and knock on doors and listen to your consultants who exist for a reason, although I agree with you, they largely suck, a lot of people are going to say this to you. Ma'am, with all due respect, you've rallied a lot of support on the internet. That's great for fundraising. It's the faster way to fundraising. Brilliant. But the people who are going to vote for you are wondering why, I don't know, I-90 is under construction again. So I'm from Chicago, so I know these areas. 94, which one goes through her district? You're not going to come and be like, well, it's because Elon Musk's a fascist. They're going to be like, lady, my commute to work is already 45 minutes. Now they're doing construction on the interstate. Tell me why that's happening. And can you do something about it to speed it up? That's what you're going to be dealing with. Federal funds for local projects. That's running for Congress. You're going to have to talk to them about federal plans. Now, to be fair, a lot of people don't understand that members of Congress don't actually affect them locally. They are voting on federal issues. So I do love it when they're like, I'll fight fascists. It's like, okay, is that going to help where I live in any way or represent my values when it comes to foreign policy? Probably not. So, look, far be it from me to tell you, do your thing. But I will say legitimately, I want these people to win because the psychotic progressive left will destroy the Democratic Party to a hilarious degree, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. The moderates in the Democratic Party are also kind of nuts, in my opinion, because most of the actual moderates, people like me, have long left. There are still some people there, but I think they're deluding themselves. They're lying. I've had conversations with a lot of these people, and I ask them simple questions like, hey, you're mad about Donald Trump. Which political party started arresting the lawyers of their political rival? And they're like, well, I don't want to answer that question. No, come on, dude. The Democrats arrested Trump's lawyers in multiple states. That is unconstitutional, okay? You don't target people's lawyers. You're nuts. Democrats want to play that game? I run for the hills. And then Donald Trump says, I'm going to investigate them. I say, please, these people are crazy. They're burning the Constitution. But hey, how about I give you a real world example? Here's a video of Rosie O'Donnell being crazy. And this is the current state of the Democrats.
You know, a lot of people did vote for him.
Yes.
Do you accept their right to do that and their opinion of him?
Well, I respect their right to do that. I question why the first time in American history a president has won every swing state.
These people are crazy. That's just not true. That is the stupidest thing anyone's ever said. First of all, swing states change. Every few elections, the population shifts. We're going to see a shift in swing states after 2030 because of the census. This is normal. California used to be deep red and had a very small population. Now it's deep blue with the biggest population. One of the biggest. Actually, is it the biggest or is it Texas? I don't know. You get the point. Donald Trump is not the first president ever to win every swing state. The obvious example, of course, is Ronald Reagan with his 49-state landslide. And that wasn't the only one. But she continues.
And is also best friends, and his largest donor was a man who owns and runs the internet.
Elon owns the internet. Yo, lady, please keep talking. There was a period where I would beg her to stop. Maybe 5 years ago, I'd be like, please stop. We're trying to get sane, rational leadership over here, ma'am. Yeah, I liked Andrew Yang. He's been a disappointment. Tulsi Gabbard, not so much. She's fantastic. And this is what you get. This is what you get the Democrats.
So I would hope that that would be investigated and that we would see whether or not it was an anomaly or something else that happened on election night in America when Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her. And Donald Trump was not able to do that.
Isn't it remarkable how much fake nonsense she believes? I'm not going to sit here and say that Democrats were hiring people to fill seats. That's stupid. It's not true. Sometimes, but it's not, people on the right, they're protesters, they're all paid. No, they're not. It's so annoying. I'm sorry, guys. I got to say it. What we know, NGOs will hire organizers to create protests, but they're not hiring individuals to show up and protest for the most part. Because it happens sometimes, and it is rare, that you'll get seat fillers or people will be paid to stand in a small crowd. They're usually not that big. Everybody assumes that whenever there's a big protest, it is all paid shills. Stop. Rosie O'Donnell is doing the inverse. Donald Trump, of course, was able to rally massive crowds. I've been to his rallies. They're nuts. Not always very, very big, sometimes a couple thousand people. But the man could certainly fill seats with lines out the door. Kamala Harris didn't do as well, but she was able to fill, big arenas to a certain degree. Rosie O'Donnell is a nut job.
So it's curious to me. And as an American and a believer in democracy, I would hope that we would be able to look at all of the reasons why this happened.
Donald Trump is the first president in history to win every swing state. Let's just entertain that as true, okay? Maybe it's because he's popular. I mean, it's not true. Ronald Reagan won every single swing state. He won near every state. So how about that? But it's here we go. Here's more Democrat absurdity.
The same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet than our white women counterparts. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Diets are racist. That's another core element of left and woke ideology. What's next? Oh, here's Jasmine Crockett actually attacking a reporter.
For violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
Good luck. As you can see.
Congressman, will you condone violence at the test?
Yo, legit. Jasmine Crockett attacked a Loomer Unleashed reporter.
Congressman, will you condone violence?
Oh, come on. Stop making it so easy for us. Okay, look, Pam Bondi came out and told Jasmine Crockett she could be censured by Congress for calling for Elon Musk to be taken down. Lady, when this is happening, the last thing you should be doing is grabbing somebody, assaulting them, okay? Because you don't like that they're asking you a question specifically about your calls for violence. But I guess it's where we're at. Well, Kash Patel has stepped up. Kash Patel sharpens warning message for Tesla domestic terror perpetrators ahead of day of action. Oh, boy. My friends, if you are just tuning in, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Post this on all social media. It really does help. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And, sharing is caring. Sharing does support the work that we do, but let's get back in and talk about what we've got going on. As the Democrats continually lose their minds, the important thing to understand is that while I've made my argument why I think the party is either crazy or wants to be crazier, there's actually more polls showing that Democrat voters want the politicians to be more aggressive against Trump. This at a time when we're actually getting terrorism. Now, Kash Patel is sending a warning message, and I think we might have another video. Take a look at this. Libs of TikTok. A man in North Carolina had his Tesla shot at with a BB gun. Take a look at this.
Martinez hits the highway in his Tesla Model S.
Oh, it drives fantastic. Yeah, it's my first.
But now it feels risky to drive. Investigators say someone shot out his driver's side window with a BB gun as he drove through the town of Zebulon late Sunday night.
I'm going to pause right quick. BB gun is the wrong way to put it. I don't think that's a BB gun. You can see that it did damage the window, but I'm pretty sure most BB guns would bounce off glass. I would assume that this is probably like a higher power pellet, air compression, break action gun of some sort.
We have a family, we got kids, so who knows if that would have gone through and I was driving with my kids or, it would have hit my buddy or something.
Vandalism and threats against the electric car brand continue to rise throughout the country. Crazy. Authorities cracking down on public backlash against Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his involvement with the Trump administration. FBI Director Kash Patel calls the acts of vandalism domestic terrorism, adding those responsible will be pursued, caught, and brought to justice. In southern Wake County, Tesla owner Jeremy found the words Nazi carved in his vehicle. He purchased his Tesla in 2019 and says he's unfairly targeted.
Driving around previously, I've had folks roll coal on me or give me the middle finger or things like that, cut me off, pretty aggressively on purpose.
Pay attention. Just pay attention to your surroundings. Be careful. Unfortunately, we're just in a crazy time at the moment.
A warning from one Tesla driver to another as the electric vehicle brand becomes the subject of political violence.
So let's just take a step back to old Kash Patel here. And we'll reassess where we are with the state of the Democrats. They have been firebombing Tesla facilities, vandalizing vehicles. We've covered this story extensively over the past couple of weeks. Now you have an individual who was driving in his car, and they shot at his window with what appears to be a pellet or BB gun. I think this is going to end very, very badly. The other day, the story we had was that a man drove into a crowd of Tesla protesters. I'm telling you, people can only tolerate so much. People are going to snap. Nobody should be doing this. But this guy apparently drove up on a curb. That's what I'm hearing now with the latest developments, is that the protesters are on the sidewalk and he actually went up on the curb, nearly hitting them. Here's what I fear. I fear dramatic escalation in violence. And as these Tesla protesters are you've got a story now where a guy had his window shattered by a BB gun of some sort. I think BB gun is an unfair way to assess what that was, but maybe that's what it was. Seems like a BB wouldn't really break that window. What happens now for every other Tesla owner who has seen the violence, the vandalism, and now this could have killed the guy? You hear about these stories where kids throw rocks off the overpass. There was one really sad story recently. These kids threw a large rock off an overpass. It went through the window and hit the passenger. Understand, this car is going 50 miles an hour, so when the rock comes in and he hits it, that's like getting smacked in the chest by a rock at 50. It killed him. And they just thought, well, we're just going to drop a rock on the car will get damaged. With these BB gun strikes, if that guy was driving and his window got shattered out, it actually broke and glass went flying and he swerved and crashed, you can die from that. What if his kids, his friend, as he mentioned? So what happens now when some other guy's driving in his car, someone's got a rifle, maybe it's just a BB gun, brake action, right? The air compression one. They pointed at him. He slams the brakes on, swerves, jumps out of the car, shoots him. What happens if some dude, whoever fired this, listen, what if they're standing there and they see a Tesla, so they pull up their rifle and some guy sees that and just panics, shoots him? We are so dangerously close to an escalation of violence here with all of this stuff. Case in point, when the Democrats say they want more and they cheer this stuff on, and Jasmine Crockett herself says she wants him taken down for her birthday, she says, politically. What do you mean taken down? He's not a politician. So what does that mean? Financially. Okay, well, the financial way they're trying to hurt him is they're terrorizing Tesla owners so that they're too scared to buy the vehicles. That's terrorism. What's the answer? Kash Patel sharpens warning message for Tesla domestic terrorism perpetrators ahead of day of action. It's not enough. I'm sorry. I think Kash is great. I think, Dan, they're great. But understand, a reaction does not assuage the fears of people who may drive Teslas. If law enforcement can solve this after the fact, it doesn't change the fact that your family was injured, your car was damaged, you were threatened or otherwise. So I don't see this as being the way out. They're going to arrest people. Maybe eventually that stops things. But I actually think we are likely to see violence before anything else. An arrest and a prosecution could take months, could take years. So in the meantime, as these protesters are, to be honest, largely getting away with it, someone's going to be driving in their Tesla in a state that allows guns. I mean, look at Virginia. Virginia has Loudoun County, which is fairly moderate, but a lot of blue. And you get closer to D.C., you get Alexandria. You are allowed to carry arms in Virginia. You are allowed, I don't know the exact rules, so look them up. But I believe open carry is allowed. Let me double check this. Virginia open carry. Let's see. There is no law in Virginia. Gun laws in Virginia regulate the sale, possession, and use of firearms. Okay, so for long guns, you do not need a permit to purchase a handgun or a long gun. You do not need to register either. You do not need a license for either. You do not need a permit for concealed carry of a long gun. You do need one for concealed carry of a handgun. You do not need a permit for open carry of a long gun or a handgun. So what happens in a place like Virginia where people, because the point is, this is actually a deeply blue area. Someone's allowed to open carry a handgun without a permit. So they're going to have their holster or whatever, gun at their side, and then something happens with the Tesla, and then someone shoots someone else. What happens with one of these guys, you're allowed to drive in your car, that was my understanding. You can drive in your car, open carrying. The joke I was told that you can ride shotgun, literally, where that's where they used to be in the horse-drawn carriage. The guy sitting next to the person, driving would have a shotgun for protection. And so that's the joke. I don't know if that you can actually be brandishing the shotgun while you're driving. It's a joke, my friends. But someone might be driving and they are allowed to open carry. So they're going to have their gun on them. Not only that, but I mean, most states are going to have permit carry anyway. And what happens when someone tries to act a fool and that guy in the car freaks out and sees them raise a BB gun or whatever they have, and he just draws his weapon and fires through the window, whatever, kills that guy? Where do we go as a country when this violence escalates? And I'll say it again. Even with Kash going after these people, the scary thing is, what's the resolution? 6 months, maybe? They arrested several people for this. Pam Bondi says they're in jail. Do you think the left is deterred by this? These people are going on social media and calling for murder and death. They get internet points for it. So I got to tell you, my friends, I hope no. But it really does seem like this is escalating to a dangerous degree. Now, anyway, I talk about that quite a bit. So let me just get back to the core message at hand, my friends. Democrats are insane. Republicans got their faults, and there's a faction of crazy Republicans. But the Republicans have an alliance right now with disaffected liberals, people who left the Democratic Party, giving Trump the popular vote win for the first time in 20 years. The Democrats want to maintain this degree of domestic terror and cheer for it like they did on The Daily Show, on Stephen Colbert's show, and Jimmy Kimmel's show. People aren't going to vote for him. How many people? Look, I can cheer for the Democrats being crazy, but not this. But I'll still say, how many liberals bought Teslas 2 years ago or even a year ago? Colbert went on his show and said, I drive a Tesla. Gas prices don't affect me. who's making a joke. Maybe he doesn't really drive a Tesla. We assume he does. Liberals all bought electric cars because the cult said to. Climate change is bad. Now they're being threatened with violence and death for having Teslas. A working class liberal person can't afford to flip a Tesla they financed, especially if demand is down because of the terror. So these people who said, okay, left, okay, liberals, I'll buy an electric car, are now saying they're attacking me, they're threatening me, and I can't sell the car because then I'll be in debt and I'll be underwater on my loan. What do? I got to be honest, those people are going to be voting Republican. Yep. Now we're going to grab your Rumble rants, my friends, and see what y'all have to say and take some of your questions. We're going to be sending all of you who are watching at just prior to 1 o'clock to Jeremy Hambley over at the Quartering. It's really cool what we've been working on for those that are watching outside of Rumble. This is the Rumble morning lineup, noon hour, where yesterday, I believe, Steven Crowder was the #1 show and I was the #2 show at the same time. It's incredible. Something amazing is happening in this space, and platform monopoly is breaking. YouTube no longer owns this space. Rumble's doing a great job. They're going to have to step it up. But so far, they are dominating the live stream space, and it really is something incredible. There are a lot of platforms people live stream on, prominent people. Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. What did Van Jones say? It sounds like an illness or an affliction. And YouTube, of course. YouTube's been trying really hard to get live, but they burned us. They burned us hard. So Rumble's picked it up, and they've given people an opportunity and a chance. And these featured streams shows their commitment to it. Thank you all so much. So let's grab some of your Rumble rants. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Ray JLB says, birthday for me today, level 35, and I make daily content on Rumble and YouTube. Ray JLB on Rumble, Ray JLB3 on YouTube. Thanks to him. Shout out. Happy birthday. Brab Zach says, Dems are going crazy. Indeed, sir. It took me but 50 minutes, and I still haven't articulated every thought I have on how crazy Democrats are. Liber8 USA says, I didn't get rated because I have Rumble Premium. Everyone else did, but it seems like Crowder is holding out. Love Tim too much to miss it. Well, Crowder does an hour show free and I think another hour of premium. And it is his prerogative for his show. So let me just stress my gratitude to Steven Crowder. Also a big fan. He's very funny. Even if Crowder told one guy to watch my show, I appreciate it. So if y'all want to watch Rumble Premium with Crowder, like, that's your guy. I ain't taking anything from you. I really do respect that Crowder has given me any bump that he gives me. And I try to do the best that I can in the inverse, those that are watching our show. Here we go. Cuba Man says, do you have any plans to use the coffee bag art for your skateboards? Graphene Dream or Irish Luck would be great on a skateboard. Yeah. I mean, maybe we can do Boonies HQ promo boards. We like the bags as their own placeholders as well. So use promo code RUMBLE10, Rumble10. You get 10% off anything, including subscriptions. I'm going to say that again. You can subscribe so that every month coffee is delivered to your house. You don't got to think about it. And you'll get 10% off your entire order if you use RUMBLE10. All right. Leadership. Lisa says, stay for the same Democrats equals keep losing over and over, and that is insanity. Agreed. I think the Democrats who are like, stay the same, are crazy because the Democrats today are crazy. All right. What does it say? IKY? Thought I was going to catch the live while on my way from just one job site to the next, but Tim is late. We'll have to listen on our way home. Shout out to my coworker, Spencer, and make him listen to you every day. In fact, I was not late. I actually went live slightly before noon. I usually go live a few minutes before noon. Sir, I don't know what you missed. Civil Liber. Listened to you last night. The left already didn't give us fair trials and due process, withholding evidence. The J6ers. Your argument they might do the same to us is moot. You are misunderstanding, my friend. My argument is that the Democrats already violated the Constitution, and thus Donald Trump must investigate and arrest those who already did these things. My argument is not I'm going to stress this again. My argument yesterday, the day before, and in the interview I did with Trigonometry, is not that Democrats may use powers against us. That is the opposite of my argument. My argument is that no matter who is in power, amoral degenerates will enact amoral degeneracy against you. So the argument that we should not use powers because Democrats will use it against us later is moot. Now, in real time, Democrats have already violated the Constitution, going after Trump's lawyers, trying to put him in prison, seize his assets, etc. So why are we sitting here being like, oh no, the norms, we can't violate the norms? What do you mean? The norms have been violated. Trump is a wartime president. Doesn't mean he's at war. It means he must now consider taking actions against people in a commensurate fashion. So my view is largely principles. This argument, if you give the powers to the president, the next president will use them against you, only applies in a morally and socially cohesive country where you fear one faction may run afoul. We are no longer in a morally cohesive country. The left moral worldview is dramatically different from the right's. The right is the Christian traditional moral worldview. Atheists and agnostics can try and argue that all they want, but it is a fact I am not making up. It's not an opinion. The moral tradition of this country is informed by Christian traditional values. The reason why we have a right to a speedy trial, a jury of our peers, and all of these things are rooted in the Christian moral tradition. Then you also, of course, have the Enlightenment. I know the arguments about the founding fathers being deists and all of that, but it is still the root of it came from a Christian moral tradition. That's the point. It's a fact. Our ancestors, our history was Christian. Now, the argument I've heard from many is that there's no such thing as one Christian. No, there is the evolution of things. You certainly wouldn't be like, humans don't exist because there is no one human. Why? Because humans evolve? Sure, but we're still human, and humans became what they are today through this process. Go to China, go to India. They do not have the same moral tradition. India has a caste system. We don't have that. Japan has an honor-based system where they committed seppuku for a long time. It's a very different moral tradition. Amtrue says, by targeting Teslas, the Dems are terrorizing their own voters. Wonder who they're going to be voting for now. Things that make you go, Agreed. They're terrorizing their own voters. Pinochet says, here in Massachusetts, it is impossible to get a license for a firearm, and Democrats are rightfully disarmed here anyway. You know, to be fair, you are less likely to find guns in places where a lot of these individuals are unable to buy guns. But it was funny that so many people freaked out over the gun thing when they couldn't buy them during the Summer of Love riots. I see a Wildfit saying Russell Brand is up next, not Jeremy. Well, you know, I got to tell you guys, you got to text me. Because if you don't text me what the schedule is, the only information I got was that Jeremy would be live like he was yesterday. But if it is Russell Brand, then, hey, base, shout out to Russell Brand, who is actually about to start right now. Indeed, we'll be rating Russell Brand. Okay. So, man, shout out. Big fan of Russell Brand. He's an awesome guy. And you know what I want to say about Russell before we initiate this raid and send you guys on over to watch good Sir Russell? Is that I met him, and there's something about, you know, people like Russell and Zachary Levi, because I met him too. These guys have too much charisma. What do I mean? You know, they're so nice. They are respectful, and they treat you like a celebrity when they themselves are the celebrity. And that's what makes people like them so much, in my opinion. I was at an event in D.C., and I was standing with my wife just kind of off to the side, minding our own business. Russell is walking by with his security, and as he's walking, he stops and looks at me, and he goes, Tim, oh, man, and he comes up and he shakes my hand, and he makes you feel welcome. He makes you feel like you need to be there, and you're a part of this moment, and I deeply respect it. Because this is how you build social cohesion. And it's why the dude is so successful, because you guys know when you watch him, he makes you feel like you're meant to be here. I met Zachary Levi, the actor, as well. Same thing. You meet these people who are massive personalities with big followings, and they treat you like it's actually you who should be respected. And I saw Russell do this with other people, and Zachary did this with other people. It's not just about me. And that's why I think they're good people. Magnanimous, as it were. My friends, gear up. We are sending you over to watch Russell Brand right now. So follow me on X and Instagram. Don't forget promo code RUMBLE10 at castbrew.com for the coffee. Let's fire away that raid. Confirmed. And then we're going to blast that link here and pin it so that you guys I make sure anybody, I know that we do this, the raid. We basically say, everybody go watch this next channel. The raid fires away. Everybody jumps over to the next show. I want to make sure we get it through. So I'm going to post that link right there in the chat for all of you that are watching. Give a heartfelt thank you to everybody who tuned in to this morning show. We're back, of course, tomorrow at noon. We have segments going up all throughout the day. And then at 8 p.m., we'll be live with Timcast IRL. And tonight's guest is Terrence Williams. So it's going to be fun and funny. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And we will see you all tonight.